Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We are Holler Board Games. I'm Dave,
I'm Joanna.
and today we are doing our list of summer games.
Mhm. Games that you play in the summer.
Or games that remind you of summer or summery games in general. It could also be called a list of island games.
List of games that mostly take place on an island. Yes.
Because there are lots of island
Lots of
games,
islands on here.
so
I
buckle up.
learned while preparing this that I am really bad at spelling the word island. Might be better at it now.
So yeah, these are all summer games. It's not going to be a top 10 or anything like that. It's just a compiled list, games that we like to play in the summer that make us think of summer. So let's go ahead and get started on it. First up, we have Spirit Island.
So Spirit Island is not an easy game, not for the faint of heart.
It is not.
It is a cooperative game, so you're not in it alone, but you are spirits that have inhabited this island, and humans are coming and kind of colonizing, and you're trying to keep them from doing such.
Yes, and all of the spirits are themed. Like, some of them are themed after water, some of them are themed after earth, some of them are themed after fire, and they all have skills and abilities that fit that theme. And that it's one of those games where there's a lot of infinite combinations, because you can play a spirit one time and I can play a spirit, and then just playing different spirits the next time, or even if one of us has the same and a different, those combinations change the game.
Yeah.
And they change how it feels. And it's very summery, it's very island, the board's very bright. Even the spirits, even though some of them are dark, the game has a very bright presentation. And it's
all about nature and preserving nature. So
correct.
You should think about being outside, being happy in the sunlight.
Yep. Number 2 on the list, and this one's a little bit weird. This one was one of my picks to put on there, so I'll justify it. Marvel United. So the reason why that I put Marvel United on there is because when I think of summertime, I think of like big blockbuster films and movies. That summer blockbuster film and superhero things fit right into there with me, with the huge action set pieces. And Marvel United is a game where you have different locations on the board. Everyone controls a superhero. You have a hand of cards that gives you actions, and they're very simple actions. It's move, punch, things like that. And there's you're literally moving to these different locations. You're rescuing civilians. You are taking down thugs, and you are trying to get to the point where you can fight the main villain, who is in the center of the board. And there's some neat mechanics in there where I can play off of your card if your card's last in the row and the person before you. And so it's very cooperative. But that's my justification for the Marvel United, is the big summer blockbuster feel, set piece.
The video game.
Yeah, I started.
Or the video game. The superhero.
The superhero feel, yeah. I started with Zombicide, Marvel Zombicide here, but I think Marvel United fits the bill. I think it fits the bill
a little bit better.
But really, you could throw any superhero game.
Yeah, I think you probably
and
could.
Still kind of get that same like summer blockbuster feel, and it's also easy.
It's easy. You can play it easily with kids too.
Yeah. You're going to see that theme come out from me a lot on summer games. There's something that I want to put on the table, and it's relatively quick. Wintertime, fall, when it's cold outside and you can't do anything, I want to hunker down and play like a long campaign game or a more in-depth game. I'm saying this after we put Spirit Island first on the list.
Right, exactly.
But some of them. This is the way I feel about a lot of them. So yeah, and it's like at this, I can play a game or 2 or 5 of Marvel United and, still have the evening free to go on a hike or do whatever I want to do that evening.
Yeah, it's not a lengthy game.
Yeah. And so that also leans me towards thinking it for summer is more of the style of play and along with the theme of it. So
that makes sense.
Next on the list, we have Botany.
Botany, that is my addition, of course. Botany is one of my favorites. Botany, you are playing the role of a Victorian flower collector who is trying to grow your collection of flowers from around the world. And so you're traveling from location to location. You have to make sure that you're balancing your income with how much your expedition is going to cost. And so there is a risk that you're going to get stuck in South America with no money and not be able to get back home. And so there's lose flowers, which are the ultimate importance. And there's an element of humor to it too. There's these action cards that happen. There's a theme of bees that carries through the entire game. That's pretty funny.
It's very lighthearted.
It's very lighthearted. It's
Yeah.
very tongue in cheek. The art is really cool. The art is all in the public domain, so it's all like Victorian era drawings and paintings of flowers.
Yeah.
So it's
definitely very springtimey, very
Yes.
summery.
Yeah.
When you think of the flower lighting and the travel all around the
Mhm.
world and the different locations and stuff, very,
Yep.
very, very.
And there are
summery.
islands you can go to islands, so it also fits the other theme.
And once again, on the theme of it being more simple. Like,
Yes,
it's not a
yeah.
super difficult
Mm-mm.
game to play.
Nope.
It's something you can put out and explain to new people relatively
Mhm.
quickly and play it and still have some of your evening
Yeah.
free.
You could do it at a garden party
Yep.
even.
Next up, back on islands, is
Back on the
Dinosaur
islands.
Island.
Dinosaur Island.
Specifically, I would put the Roaring right here
Uh-huh.
just because of that less time, simpler theme. But
Mhm.
really, you could substitute any dinosaur game in here: Dinosaur Island, Dulosaur Island, the Roaring Right, even something like Dinogenics. But specifically for the Dinosaur Islands, they're very bright, they're
Mhm.
very colorful, and basically in all of these games, what you are doing through different mechanics is you are building your dinosaur park. It's
Mhm.
essentially Jurassic Park. You're raising dinosaurs, you're keeping them enclosed, you are trying to prevent the inevitable catastrophes that happen from raising pet dinosaurs. And it's very summery, very bright, very lighthearted in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and it makes you kind of think about a theme park because you're really building a theme park, and theme parks always make me think of summertime. So.
Yep. And next on the list, get ready for more islands. Robinson Crusoe. Robinson Crusoe. I believe the full name is like Robinson Crusoe on the Cursed Island or something like that. I don't know the exact full
But I
name.
didn't have to
but I
spell
remember-
island for that one. I just wrote Robinson Crusoe.
But I remember that's what it is. And Robinson Crusoe it's literally that. You are stranded on a deserted island and you are trying to do whatever the goal of your mission is. And
Mhm.
this one, sometimes the mission is as simple as trying to build a raft to escape the island or trying to rescue someone. But sometimes it goes off the rails and there are volcanoes and King Kong, and I think there's an element of time travel in some of the missions. And
We have that's one that we have the big book
yeah,
of
there's
like different missions that you
there's a
can
mission
do, right?
book that you can fill
Mhm.
out, and so
Yep.
it's at its core, it's very bright, it's very summery. There are
Mhm.
some dark missions too
Mhm.
with zombies and witchcraft and cannibals
Mhm.
and all of those good things. But at its heart, it's I said good things, like all of those things are fantastic. Like,
Cannibals, yay!
there's a Cannibal of the Year award that's going to happen. But all of those things, at its base, it's summer. You move around the island, you reveal tiles. It's very much, a Caribbean like beach island.
Yeah.
You're collecting resources, and the resources are little bananas, and you're the
Mhm.
food, and there's pelts.
Good
And
components.
yeah, and so
I'm a big
like,
fan of components.
yeah. I actually have I actually bought the upgraded resources
That's
for
probably
this
why I
one.
like it so much.
No. Those are the basic ones that we have. I actually just bought them. They're going to be shipped. I called them on sale.
So I like the current components,
Yeah.
and we're getting better.
and we're getting better
components?
ones. Yeah, there's like actual like more in-depth
Ooh.
components. That's beside the fact. Robinson Crusoe, another island game.
Yep.
Not the last one.
Not the last island on
Not
the list.
last one, but very summery
Yep.
nonetheless.
But the next one is not an
The
island
next one is not an island game.
that we know of.
The
Could be
next
an island, I guess, for this one. It's
The
an
next
optional
one.
island.
The next one is Dog Park.
Mhm.
This one was one of
So,
yours.
It was, yes. So Dog Park is all about you are playing as a dog walker, and you are trying to build a strong kennel of dogs, and you have to decide which dogs you're going to take out for a walk at a time, and you're kind of gathering resources, and which dogs you take out determines which resources you get together. And so it's a very bright, it's very colorful. There's a bunch of different dog breeds in there. I love a game that will like teach me little factoids as I'm going along. That's another thing I like about botany is there's little facts sometimes on there. Wingspan
Dog
is like
Park.
that. Yeah. Dog Park has that too. And so I learn different dog breeds as I'm walking these dogs. And so it's very summery because you're taking a walk in the park with some dogs, and you can do that in the winter. I'm certain that dog walkers have to work all year long, and they probably have to deal with muddy paws a lot of the winter time, but for me, if I was going to be a dog walker, I think I'd like to do it in the spring or summer.
Yeah, I think that would be the best. And also another one goes back to it being simple, pretty easy to teach, easy to learn.
Yes.
Kind of
Yep.
get to the table. It's not difficult. It's not, very
Yeah.
time consuming. So it also kind of fits that summer night theme of like,
does.
let's do this.
You can get it out, play it,
yeah, and then
put it
do
away,
something
and
else.
still have
Right,
another activity that day.
next on the
Long
list,
days.
and this was one of my additions, is Fort. Fort takes me back to being a kid. So the essence of Fort is you are a child playing with your friends, trying to build the best fort that you can, and you're collecting stuff and pizza, and it's a very small footprint game. It's not a big box. It's relatively in depth. I won't say it's super easy to learn. It's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
It's not something that you can
More
just,
going on than I expected it to have.
It's got a lot going on, but the art is beautiful. There's a lot of things I really like about it, but that takes me straight back to childhood, fort building, playing with your friends, that summer vacation.
Get up in the morning, spend the whole day doing the thing that you want to do with your friends.
Exactly.
Summer vacation.
Yep. This one may be my most strongly associated with summer.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I could play Fort in the wintertime.
Right. I don't know if I could either.
Maybe I wanted to think about summer vacation.
Right.
If I could. Next up is one of yours. It is Everdell.
Everdell. So Everdell is another kind of worker placement game. And you are little animals in the forest, and you are gathering resources. It's got really good components. It's got squishy berries, which I love the squishy berries. I mean, that's kind of it. Your goal is to
build the best
village for your animals
in the forest.
And it gets kind of intense at times. There's definitely some strategy in there. It's not just a totally chill game. It's not Spirit Island, but it's not like, there's some
it's a very
more intense parts, but it's more lighthearted.
Yeah, it's a very lighthearted feel.
Yeah.
To the game, and it's very bright, and the animals are all the art's really adorable.
It's really adorable. Yep, and it's a woodland theme, so it makes me think about being outside. And
there's tons of meeples for this one, and they're all shaped in the different types of the animals so that you can use them. And there's all kinds of different expansions that add little bits and pieces here and there, and some of them they change the game pretty drastically when you look at it. So there's a lot going on in Everdell. But it's also very bright, very springtimey, very summery. So yeah, Everdell. We're back to islands.
Yay!
This one is Fireball Island.
Fireball Island.
And this one was another one of yours.
Yes. So this is probably the one that I would, if I was making my own summer list and this might be my number one summer game, for all the reasons that we mentioned. So it's got a travel component. So Fireball Island is a remake of an older game, and it feels like a remake, but it feels like a really nostalgic remake. And for some reason, nostalgic things make me think of childhood and summer, and or Halloween, but that's a story for another day.
We'll do a list for Halloween too.
Maybe a few, but it's a textured board, and so it's a mountain. The board is a mountain, and there's like peaks and valleys, and the middle of the board is the volcano, and it's Valkyr, and you at times have to drop marbles in there, and that's the fireballs, and you're hoping when you drop the marbles in that you're going to knock your opponents off of the game. It reminds me of a game that I would have loved in my childhood, that the object of the game is to move around the board, collect things from the board, gems, photographs, and then make it back to the helicopter in time to get those things back home before Valkyr explodes and the whole island is gone. So it's a lot of adventure. It's some travel. You're on an island. The whole thing is green. So that just feels like summer to me.
Yeah, there's little trees, like palm trees that set up.
Oh yeah, that you sit in there and
to block pathways. And this one is, once again, going back to, it's super simple.
Super
this
simple.
This is one that you can set out with kids. Like as far as like hobby board games go, this one's very simple. I don't want to say as simple as they come, but it's for sure on the simpler side.
It's definitely on the simpler side. The only issue with kids is the table bumping.
Yeah. But there's even a part in the rule book for Fireball Island where it's like, if your cat bumps the table, just put everything back.
Yeah.
it's gonna be
But
fine
there
because-
are things that will fall off.
yeah, the marbles are kind of precariously balanced in
Uh-huh.
little divots, and sometimes you knock the table and everything just crashes down. And even then, you're just like, oh well, and you just
Yep.
set everything back up, and it takes 30 seconds, and you go
Yeah, it's
on
not a
with
big
the
deal.
rest of your game.
Yep.
But very, very, very summary.
Very summary.
Mhm. Next was we both had the next one on
Uh-huh.
our list, but Parks and
Slash Trails. Yeah.
we put both of them on. So
Yeah.
Parks is a game about hiking the various national parks. You're hiking along a trail and you're trying to visit as many of the national parks as you possibly can, and you're collecting resources that you pay to visit those national parks. And it has, what's the name of the project? Is it, I forget the name of the photograph project from the arts, but all of the art is from a national parks photography project, and I would know it 9 times out of 10 that this is the one. So the art is very good, and it's all cohesive, and it's very nice to look at when you have it out on the table. Once again, simple, pretty easy.
Yes.
It's going to bother me until I think of the name of that art project. But then Trails, yeah, I like writing on the bottom.
Yeah.
But then Trails is sort of a similar vibe, sort of a similar thing, but it's more of a travel friendly.
Yeah,
version.
it's
a smaller
smaller
box. We've played Trails on like a hotel table, like a hotel bed.
Yeah.
And you set it out,
Yep.
you set it out, and you just play Trails. So they both make the list because they're both very similar. But Parks is more of a, and Parks is not even a huge.
It's not
box
big.
game.
Like
it's
you
a
could
small
take it
footprint.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, but Trails is friendlier to travel with, so there's
Yeah.
a place for both of them in your collection, and so
Definitely.
we put them both.
Trails you could put in your backpack when you're going on an
We put
actual
them
hike.
both on the same line. Yeah, and we're gonna have a list of travel games coming up very
Yes,
soon. So we're
very
actually
soon.
going on vacation next week, and so we're gonna make a list of travel games probably before we leave, or maybe while we're on vacation,
Yeah,
but
we'll
probably before we
take
leave.
some of them with us.
And then we're gonna post that for, and that will be an actual top 10. We're gonna do like top 10 travel games for both of us. So that'll be out, but I'm sure Trails will be on mine.
Yep.
Next up, this is sort of islands. We're back to the same vibe.
There are some islands in this game.
It is a Forgotten Waters. Forgotten Waters is really, once again, you could put any pirate game in here that you wanted to, but for me, Forgotten Waters is my favorite because it's very simple, it's very silly. It's you're pirates and you're on a pirate ship, and every person controls a different part of the ship. You have a person who's the first mate, and they control the crew, and you have a person who is the gunner, and they control the cannons, and everybody has a little job
that you do on the
when
ship.
you're on the ship. And then there's also a storybook that goes in the middle, and you place your characters on different slots of that storybook, and it will tell you the actions that you can do. And there's an app, this one is app based, and it will, when you place your character on this story, it'll say make this check or go to this spot in the app, and it will tell you what happens as you go along. And this one's good because, once again, it's not hard to explain. It's
not
fun,
at all.
it's lighthearted,
And it doesn't take a lot of concentration either. Like you're able to there can be kids running around and
I think this one plays, I could be wrong, it's up to 6 or 7, I think.
Yeah, it's a pretty high number.
We've never played it with that many, and also I think Freelancers is the same way. Freelancers is kind of the same thing, but more in a fantasy universe. But it's I think it plays up to 6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah.
Watch, it'll be like 4, and I'll feel like an idiot. But we've only ever played at maximum of 4. And I remember people having 2 jobs, so I think it plays more than that.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's very piratey, very islandy, super fun, bright theme. So Forgotten Waters, definitely a summertime vibe.
Definitely.
Next up was one of yours, and that is Tokaido / Tokaido Duo.
Yes, I think we might see Tokaido Duo again on the travel list. So we'll talk about Tokaido.
Probably on today. 2 of them.
Yeah. So Tokaido is one of my favorite games. It is you're going on vacation along a road in Japan.
The East Sea Road.
Oh,
I remember that.
That you remember.
The East Sea Road.
And there's various places that you can stop at this road as you travel along. There's spas. There's like places to take panoramic photos.
Souvenir
There's
shops.
souvenir shops, and you're kind of set collecting as you go along.
The souvenir set collection, and so is the photos.
Yeah,
so
and the
is
photos are too.
Panoramics.
Yeah. And then there's other various things that you score points for along the way. And as you go along,
there's
food. Yeah. Food you collect and eat.
Hungry.
Also,
we haven't had dinner. So food would be great.
But there's a component of like what order the turns go into. So if you were playing after me and I took a slot that you wanted, you wouldn't be able to get it. And so you've got to kind of weigh whether or not you want to stop here or if you want to skip ahead of that person so that you can get the thing that you may really want ahead, but miss like 4 things that you want quite a bit too.
And the player who's furthest back on the road goes first. And so it's possible if you like get really far back, it's possible to even take 2 or 3 turns in a row if you're not caught up to everyone else yet. But it's like, if there's spots that you can't go there because like it's crowded.
Right. There's people there.
That place is crowded. Like I don't want to go there.
We've had that on vacation before.
It's very, and the whole game is about who can have the most fun on vacation.
The best vacation.
And so it's inherently pretty stress free. And like, even if somebody's in a place you want to go, you're just like,
it's not that big of a deal.
Rats.
Yeah.
And then you skip forward and you find something else fun to do. And it's so Tokaido Duo. And Tokaido Duo is it's very much the same style of game, the same visual style, and it's also travel, but it's more condensed. It's more we've played it on hotel tables. It's very small footprint. It's only 2 people, hence the duo. But it is
you're taking a pilgrimage around an island and you're walking a trail that goes around the outside of the island.
You're buying and selling, you're painting things, but very much the same vibe. This one is just kind of more condensed down and better to travel with. And Namiji's in there too. And I forget about Namiji. We do. But Namiji it's
Tokaido
like
with boats.
Tokaido basically.
It would be Tokaido with more islands. There's so many islands on this list.
We haven't played Namiji but once or twice. Like every time we go to play Namiji, we're just like, let's play Tokaido. I think it's nostalgic. It's it's an older game for us. But we need to get Namiji out more.
We do.
I think Ben, our son, might be old enough to play Tokaido or Namiji, either one now. So we need to break those out.
We do.
The last one on the list is. It's not an island. I mean, it could be an island. It's very island-ish. It's island adjacent for sure. And that is Lost Ruins of Arnak. Lost Ruins of Arnak is Indiana Jones, the board game, basically. And what it is you are, it's a worker placement game. So you're placing your workers to visit different spots on the island. You're collecting resources from placing your workers. You're spending those resources to do different things. You also have a deck of cards that allows you to do various things and allows you to determine where you're going to place your workers based by the symbols on the cards. And you have kind of like a research and a knowledge track that you're moving up. And there's several different ways to advance, and there's always something to do. You always feel busy in Lost Ruins of Arnak. Like there's always like, oh man, there's so many things that I can do and that I can piece out, and I really enjoy that. We actually got the expansion for that makes the different leaders asymmetric, and we've never played it. We really need to get that to the table, which I say that we haven't had it very long. It's not like we've had it for years and never played it. We've had it for a month or two and haven't played the expansion.
But I think this one kind of hits that summer blockbuster adventure-y type game.
And it's also like jungles and hot and sweltering. And Lost Ruins of Arnak it's not super complicated. It's a game that if you have friends who play board games, they have general idea of what terms like worker placement and deck building and things like that are. You can get it out on the table and you can explain to them pretty quick what's going on. A lot of games are more difficult. It's right at that tippy top end, I think, of games that I would trust to like teach to a brand new person. I'd be like, oh, this is your first game. Like if that person was like reasonably intelligent and that was a theme they were really interested in. And
you could do it.
Yeah, you could be like, this is your first game. You could do that. It might be a little tough for them to grasp, but it's right at the very edge of like, oh man, I would never introduce a person to the game or to the hobby with this game. Right. Like it's still, it's on that tipping point of where it's not too complicated.
We should make a list of best first games.
We should. We can
Yeah.
do that sometimes. Games to start a collection, something like that. If you're looking to start a collection, but that is for the future. And
Yep.
now is the summer, almost the end of summer.
Almost the end of summer, so get on those summer games.
It is late August, so
Yep.
hopefully something in here, even if hopefully you learn something new in here. If you didn't learn something new, hopefully you just have something sitting on your shelf and you're like, oh, it's been a long time since I played Takedo. I'm gonna grab Takedo out and play it because it is summertime and they convince me. Guys, if you like the content, please feel free to like and subscribe below.
Yep.
Drop a comment down there and let us know what some of your favorite summer games are. Maybe I'll learn something, or maybe I'll find a new game. She loves it when I buy new games all the time. So, drop something down there. I actually just got Earth today, which might make the summer.
That might make the summer list.
You never know. It's very bright.
I am pretty excited about that one. I don't think it costs $400.
No, it did not. It was not. It was like $25, $30.
Okay, all right, that's not bad.
So anyway, guys, that's our list of summer games. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.